Hey, this is Wylene Benson, and thanks for watching today. We're going to be talking about how to improve your decision-making skills. You never have to make another bad decision. Wouldn't that be awesome? It's really, really true. I'm going to teach you a process that I use to get answers and to get the best answers and to get the answers that are going to give you the fastest results possible. How would you like that? Is that going to be awesome? All right, well, what I do is something I call GPS. And GPS literally is my direction finder for the day. So what I do is I go into my creating room, is what I call it. It's just a nice little chair in my nice little quiet office. And I sit down and I'm quiet and I listen and I ask some questions. So G stands for ground. And what I do to ground is I just get very quiet. I focus on my breathing. I close my eyes. I put my hands in an upright position, just on the tops of my thighs, because this says I'm ready to receive. And I'm just very quiet and I listen. And as I breathe, I allow my consciousness, my awareness to just go right here into my heart. So I'm going to be listening for truth. So that's the G. P stands for prayer, and I always do just a prayer of gratitude at the end for everything that I've received. And S stands for scripture, and scripture could be anything from the Bible or another form of scripture. It could be a hymn book. It could be just a really great book that you feel brings you, connective to your spirit. So today we're going to be talking mostly about the G, the grounding, and some of the questions that I ask and how I receive answers to be able to make really great decisions. All right, so as you ground, here's a few questions that you can ask. What's the next step for me to achieve my goal? And whatever you receive, just trust that it's going to be the best and most perfect answer for you. It might be something, it usually is something really super simple. And if it's so simple that you're like, can't be that, it's too simple, I really caution you against discounting anything that you receive. Whatever it is, just trust that it is perfect and it's going to be the best and fastest way to achieve your goal. Another question that you might ask is, who needs what I have to offer? For the most part, most businesses, you need a lot of relationships. You need to create relationships to be successful. And so for a lot of people, it's about creating those relationships. So that question, who needs what I have to offer, people will just come into your mind. Or maybe an idea comes into your mind to go to a certain place. And while you're there, you're going to meet someone. And maybe it's not that particular person that you meet that's going to bring you your next sale or whatever, but maybe that person leads you to someone. So make sure you take that advice as it's given to you. And then another question that I ask is, what is the limiting belief that would stop me from taking action on this next step? And asking for the limiting belief so that it can become really present with you allows you to be able to get rid of it right up front so you can move forward and take that next step. Okay, so just to recap, there's 4 steps. First of all is to ask. So you're going to ask, what's the next step? Who needs what I have to offer? What is the limiting belief that is stopping me from taking the next step? The next one is to receive it. So whatever it is, just listen, receive, allow it to come. And then the third step is to trust. Believe that it is perfect, even if it's just super simple, because it probably will be super simple. And then the fourth step is to act. Act immediately. Don't wait 2 weeks to put this information that you just received into action. Take action immediately. Sometimes there's just a little window for you to take action, and that would have been the fastest and shortest route to your goal. But if you don't take action, you can still get there, but you might have to go around something else and take a little bit longer. So I encourage you to act, be 100% obedient with that instruction that you receive. And I'm going to share with you some inspiration that I received in, it wasn't actually during a visualization, it was in a class that I was taking where we were just doing an exercise. We were just asking each other, what do you want? And we were just getting really clear with something that we wanted to create. And it was a surprise to me that something came to me that I was going to be doing something that had to do with helping people with addiction. I had never worked with people with addiction before, and I really didn't know how that was going to play out or what it looked like. And my idea was that maybe I'm going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to create a foundation that I'll be able to send people to rehab. So I took a step in that direction because that was the information that I received. And as I took that step in that direction, I began to meet people. People began to be attracted to me, and I just would create relationships of people that would help me with addiction, help me learn about it, help me get a little bit more information. And as this information came to me, then new steps came to me as I went every day into my and doing my GPS. What it actually turned out to be is now I'm actually creating a resort to bring people to help them eliminate addiction in their lives. Nothing like what I had originally considered was what my vision was going to be. And so I encourage you, as you get these steps, that you look at each step as a step forward. And don't judge it, because it is going to look completely different from when, the first time you sit down and do GPS and receive your next step. It's going to look completely different than, 2 years from now as you're working towards, if you have a really long range goal. And don't judge that. Just know that every single step is a step forward. So you never have to make a bad decision. When you make a decision based on receiving through this GPS process, it's perfect. It's the best and shortest path to your end goal. And don't judge if all of a sudden you have to change directions. You're doing something different because you received something different in your GPS. Every single piece is a step forward, and every piece builds on the other. So that's how you do it. That's how you always make good decisions. So now you know that when you make a decision, all you need is just the next step. And your first step is not going to look like the last step. And just like I mentioned in the video, the warrior camp that I created, that's my 3-day event to help people with broken patterns, it doesn't look anything like it did when I first started. If you want more information about Warrior Camp and about helping to break your broken patterns, look in the description below, and I'll put a little bit more information there. And be sure to subscribe and continue watching.